Hello everyone, and welcome to the RV Inspection and Care podcast and video. I'm Dwayne. I'm a certified RV inspector, and today we're going to be talking about buying either new or used RVs and try to answer the question, what's the smart way to go? You know, many RV buyers, they're just not sure what to do, frankly. They have, on the one hand, heard all these horror stories about new RVs online, but on the other hand, they don't want to buy somebody else's problem either and find that they've gotten an expensive RV money pit. So it can become a quandary for RV buyers. Well, let's discuss the pros and the cons of buying either new or used RVs. And let's start with new RVs and the pros or the advantages of buying them. The first one we'll talk about today is that you can properly care for that RV from its first day of ownership and life. That's really great because you can maintain it from day one. You don't have to wonder what the history of that RV has been like. You are the only owner and you can make sure that it's well cared for. The second advantage of buying a new RV is you can get a warranty for the repairs on it. And that's a good thing. You know, in the industry, it's generally about a year's worth of warranty, but some brands go a little bit longer. And many people like the fact that that warranty should cover pretty much anything that goes wrong on the RV for that period of time. It's peace of mind for them, and that's very understandable. The next advantage to buying new RVs is pretty much you can be sure that there hasn't been any pets or smokers that have spent any length of time in that RV. And you know, for some people that's really important. They can be allergic to those things. There's a lot of folks that are. And others just don't want that. So you can make sure that has not happened in that RV. The next big advantage for buying new is that you can get the latest equipment, the latest features in the industry when you buy a new RV. RVs are continually progressing forward, and so there's always new things coming out, new ways of doing things, and often it really makes RVing more pleasant and more comfortable, so you can get the latest things that accomplish that by buying a new RV. And in addition to that, you can make sure that the style is usually modern, and that's important to a lot of people. But not everything is good when you buy new RVs. Let's talk about the cons or the disadvantages of buying new RVs. The first big one is you're usually going to spend more money, especially if you're buying that brand and that model. You could go back a few years and save a lot of money by doing that in many cases. Now, there is a way to make buying new economical, and that is to buy a new RV and keep it for many, many years. Then it's actually the most economical way you can go. But if you keep turning around and trading RVs in every few years and buying new, well, you're going to spend a lot of extra money. One of the reasons for that is our second disadvantage to buying new, and that is depreciation. It depends on the brand and it depends on the kind of RV that you buy, but in some cases, depreciation can devalue an RV up to 20 to 30% immediately. Wow, that's a big hit financially to take on a new RV. Another disadvantage of buying new RVs is remember that warranty that you get with a new RV. It's great to have, right? Well, in some cases, when you go to get the warranty work done at the dealer, you could be stranded in a very long repair line. It takes you months to get the repairs done under warranty, and that can be a real frustration. Another disadvantage of buying a new RV, you have to buy it from a dealer pretty much. And unfortunately, these days, a lot of the smaller customer service oriented RV dealers, they're being bought up by the big national chains, and they love to institute sales tactics that have been used in the car industry for years, tactics that irritate and frustrate people. So when you buy from a dealer, in many cases, it can be an unpleasant experience, and that's a disadvantage to buying new RVs in some cases. Well, let's talk about used RVs now. And what are the advantages of buying a used RV? Number one, you can save a lot on the initial purchase price. If you're on a budget, well, just go back in years until you find RVs that match your budget. And that is a great way for you to be able to get into RVing and not overextend yourself. The second advantage to buying used RVs is depreciation is still there, but it's much less from year to year after those first few years are over. And that's good as well. You're not losing as much money in the ownership of that RV. The third advantage of buying used is most of the bugs in that RV that came out of the factory or on the way to the dealer, most of those have been worked out by the original owner. He had to deal with all the frustration of doing that. Now you get the benefits of a workable RV, and that's good. Another advantage of buying used is, in many cases, you're going to be able to get upgrades and extras if you especially buy from a private seller, because people, when they buy RVs, they like to upgrade them. They like to put nice stuff in them and make them more comfortable. And if they're changing to a different kind of RV, well, they may just let the stuff that they bought for that RV kind of go with it in the sale. And you can get all these upgrades and extras for not much money. That's a big advantage of buying used. Another advantage for buying used RVs is you get a lot of RVs to choose from because there's several years worth that you can look at. And when you're buying new, you only get 1 year's worth of RV to choose from. So that's another thing to consider. And the final advantage we're going to talk about today to buying used RVs is, suppose you want a high quality RV, a high quality brand, but you just can't afford the new one. Well, just once again, go back in years until you find the year where you can afford that RV, and make sure you get one that's been well maintained, and then you can get a high quality RV for not a lot of money. Well, not everything is great with buying used RVs, so let's talk about the disadvantages or the cons. And the number one disadvantage is you better verify the condition that RV is in, because it needs to have been maintained well. And unfortunately, I can tell you as an RV inspector that many RV owners don't really maintain their RV very well, especially those that keep turning them around every few years and buying new. So there could be unseen problems in a used RV, and you need to be able to handle that situation well. The second disadvantage to buying a used RV, there's no factory warranty. Nobody's going to bail you out when there's something major that goes wrong. All the repairs will be your responsibility. Now, of course, you can get an extended warranty or a service contract to take care of those things, and it can be a good choice in many cases, but once again, it's going to cost you to do that. The next disadvantage to buying used is, in many cases, it's going to lack those new features the new equipment, the latest stuff that's come out. And in addition to that, you may not care for the style back in those years at all. So it's something that's important to a lot of people. And the final disadvantage we'll talk about is that when RVs reach a certain age, they come to a point where a lot of things need to be replaced. Things like appliances, items, components, they've reached the end of their service life, and now you just need to replace them altogether. They may work at the time you buy them, but they could need replacement soon, and that can be expensive. Well, those are the new and used RV pros and cons that I wanted to cover with you today. But let's get back to that subject about the horror stories that you hear online. Let me say what I have said very often on this channel. There is a lot of misinformation online about RVs, and much of it comes from the RV influencer community, where they have learned that if they spread drama and negativity, well, they get a lot more attention, a lot more subscribers, and so on. But much of that is so overblown. Here's the truth. It is easy to get a good RV, either new or used, with the right buying process. That's why I made a guidebook for buying either used or new RVs that you can see here, and they will show you how to buy an RV the right way. Get it at the right price and make sure it's in great shape. If you use those guidebooks along with my new and used recommended brands lists, then you're really going to put all the odds on your side that you're going to be able to buy a really good, reliable, trustworthy RV and get it at a good price. So the bottom line of this video is either new or used RVs can be a good choice. It depends on you, your circumstances, and what's most important to you. So go over the pros and cons that I covered in this video and decide what is most important to you. And really, if you have the right buying process, you can get the RV that will fit you best for many years, whether it's either new or used. And that's it for now. Have safe and happy travels, my friends. Until next time.